How are you, Layla? I'm fine. What's the plan for today? Well, I don't really have much of a plan. It's called Ask Teacher Mark. So if you have a question, then ask me. That's basically the plan for today is you ask me questions and I try to answer them. Try being the key word. And hello, Jalal. Hello, Yen. Hello, Sham. What's the difference between iconic and ironic? That's a big difference. If something is iconic, an icon is either a person, usually a person or personality, that's so famous that it's beyond famous. It's like almost legendary, right? So, if someone is an icon, then they're like a legendarily famous person. So, iconic is something that's amazingly famous, right? It's something that's like will be remembered forever. Okay? But ironic, yeah, that's right. The Mona Lisa is iconic. That's right. But irony is a fun little literary type of word, right? There's different kinds of. Oh, hold on, let me take these off. I can't see right. So it's basically like you're saying the opposite. It's very similar to sarcasm. Irony and sarcasm are kind of close together. It's usually for humor, right? A humorous effect. So, for example, let's see. Let me think of a good example. Let's see. Yeah, so like I said, it's almost like sarcasm. So if something bad happens and you say, "Oh, great," that's irony. It's sarcastic, but it's ironic. You're saying the opposite of what's really happening. Okay, if you go outside and it starts raining and you say, "What a beautiful day for a picnic," that's ironic. You're being ironic, right? So sarcasm and irony are very similar. They're like step brothers. Okay? Do I think age has an effect on learning English? No. No. Age doesn't have an effect on learning any language. If you want to, there are many things that might affect a person, the way that they learn, their ability to learn, right? Sometimes the things that I teach are not about English, they're about how to learn. Because it seems like many people don't really know how to learn. And you think you can't, or you think it's really hard because you don't know how. You're not doing it the right way, so you think it's really hard. You know? Jalal says, I'm from Pakistan, so my question is, how can I improve my listening skills? So Jalal, you need to use the internet to improve your listening skills, right? So you need to listen to podcasts, you need to listen to live streams or voice rooms, you need to listen to, maybe music. If you like music, you can listen to some songs that might help a little bit, right? Be careful a little bit with listening to music for learning English, because songs are like poetry, and poetry does not care about grammar. So there are many songs that have lyrics, the words don't have correct grammar, right? It's incorrect grammar. But that's okay in a song. Okay, it's not a test. Life is not a grammar test. Okay? Ni hao, Nala. Hello, sunshine. Sunshine, I know sometimes it's late. So just recently, America just had daylight savings time, right? Which means that now everything in America is 1 hour later. Is that right? So what that means, or earlier. No, sorry, earlier. Yeah. So that means I have to wake up earlier and I have lessons earlier. But that means that sometimes by the time I start my stream, it's kind of late for you. For you. Okay? Sometimes you face the issue of accents. Okay? So choose someone else. Okay? You are not going to understand everyone because there are billions of people. So don't try to understand everyone. Try to find people you understand. And then listen to them. Okay? Don't worry about the everyone. Just worry about the people you can understand. For now. Okay? For now. Yes, ChatGPT is an effective way to practice English. Is it the best way? No. Is it perfect? No. Is it as good as a human? Maybe. It depends. If you're practicing with somebody who doesn't really know English very well, or who can't explain what's wrong, then maybe ChatGPT is better than a native. I can find many natives here who would not be able to explain anything to you about grammar. Okay, they might speak well, but they can't explain why. They don't remember the rules, so they can't really explain it well. ChatGPT can. Okay, so of course it's a good tool. It's a silly argument to talk about whether it's a good tool or not. It's not a perfect tool, but it's a stupid idea to try to measure it by perfection. When you measure it by perfection, what else do we measure by perfection? Do you want it to be a god? It's not a god. It's just another advancement of technology, just like every other advancement of technology. And every advancement of technology has things that are good and things that it doesn't do well. It's not perfect, okay? But of course it's good. I need a haircut. No, I don't. But thank you. When we say that said should it be followed with an opposite point? Not necessarily an opposite point, but some kind of an additional point. It could be an opposite point, but it also could just be an additional or complementary point. But in general, it's usually used for some kind of like a but, right? You're saying, I really like to go to the park for picnics, but it's going to rain this weekend, right? You could say, I really like going to the park for picnics. That said, it's going to rain this weekend. Okay? Now, it's going to rain this weekend isn't really an opposite point. It's a statement about what's getting in the way of what you want to do. It's not quite an opposite point, but yeah. Okay. Teacher said that a real person is much better. Yeah, of course it is. So what? If you don't have a real person, then ChatGPT is better. If you have a real person to talk to, how often can you talk to them? Maybe 1 hour a day. If you're lucky, ChatGPT is there 24 hours a day. 3 a.m. you can ask ChatGPT a question about grammar and it will not be mad at you. If you ask a native person at 3 a.m. a question about grammar, they will be mad at you. Pak Hao says, I'm learning English. I have been learning English for many years, but I can't speak well because I worry about grammar being incorrect. Don't worry about your grammar being incorrect, Pak Hao. Just speak, okay? Life is not a grammar test. Life is not a grammar test. The more you speak, the more you will improve. If you never speak, you never have a chance to learn better. If you speak and you make a mistake, maybe you'll hear the right way and learn what you should do. How you should fix it. Okay? Some people are jealous of me. No, I don't care if they are. Look, if you haven't really figured it out yet, I don't really care very much about how I look, if you haven't figured that out yet. I have more important things to care about. What's the best way to remember the perfect event? I don't know what you mean by that question. Abdullah, what do you mean by the perfect event? What is the perfect event? What are you talking about? Hello, Carolina, how are you? Jalal, I am here in the mornings usually, okay? I don't get paid for this, so I am here when I can be here. So I try to be here a lot, and I'm usually here Monday through Saturday, okay, in the morning. That's my time in the morning. Now, what time in the morning, you say? I don't know. Sometimes it's 9 a.m., sometimes it's 10 a.m., sometimes it's 10:30 a.m., okay? I come online when I can come online in the morning. But sometimes I'm busy. Like yesterday and the day before, I had family things to worry about. I could not be here. Okay? How to talk naturally with ChatGPT. Well, you just... Why don't you tell it? Just tell ChatGPT what you want. Just tell it. I want to practice English with you. Can you do that for me? Tell it what level you are. Say, I think I'm a beginner, or I'm intermediate, or I'm an advanced speaker. Tell it I'm a B1 or B2 or A1 or A2. And then tell it, maybe you can talk about what you like, right? So you can talk about your hobbies or your interests with ChatGPT. Can we talk about basketball to practice my speaking? Sure, it will say. Okay? I said an English native speaker is the best if I don't... yes, Unina, what I said was there are 4 ways to practice speaking English. Speaking. Okay? The question before was about listening. Now we're talking about speaking. Of course, the best way would be a native speaker. That's number 1. Try to find a native speaker in real life or online. Number 2 would be a non-native speaker. Somebody like you, maybe another Chinese person or another, Egyptian person or whoever lives near you, maybe. They want to practice their English too. And maybe their English is better than yours in some ways. Maybe they have a better vocabulary than you do, but your grammar is better than theirs. Help each other. Just because their English is not perfect doesn't mean it's bad to practice with them. Many people, they say, I don't want to practice with a non-native. I don't want to practice with somebody from my country. That's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. Practice with whoever you can practice with. All right, so step 1, native speaker. Step 2, non-native speaker. Step 3, that's where you try to find someone you can teach. If you can't find somebody who you can practice with, then find somebody who doesn't know anything and teach them something about what you know. Right? Teach them about, how to say hello or goodbye or how to say past tense. Right? Teach them something. Guess what? Teaching is some of the best practice that you can do. When you teach something, you have to explain it. So now you really have to think about it. And then the final way to practice is by yourself. By yourself. Talk to the wall, talk to the mirror, talk to the TV, talk to the dog, talk to the parrot. Just talk. Okay? There are 4 ways. Okay? There are 4 ways. Let's see. You are welcome, Nala. Thank you for saying thank you. And if you still can't find that, then ChatGPT. Well, yes, but I think, Unina, I would say, I think when I made my answer, ChatGPT has not been out yet. The answer that I first gave was from a couple of years ago, before ChatGPT became big. Now that ChatGPT is here, I would say that these things should be treated separately. That practicing with people is one way to practice, and it's really good. But now we have ways to practice with virtual people. right? Virtual assistants, virtual, AI. So I would treat them as separate, that they're both useful in different ways. The AI is very useful in one very important way. It's always available. You can't do that with a person. People are not always available. All right? All right, next. How's my family issue about surgery? Yes, my mother had surgery a couple of days ago, and that's why I wasn't here. She's doing fine. She's upstairs recovering right now. So, but thank you for asking. She had hip replacement surgery. Is the accent necessary to be learned? You need to have a clear accent, but you do not need to have a perfect accent. So, if you have an accent from China, fine. Chinese accent, no problem. As long as they can understand you, no problem. Japanese accent, German accent, French accent, fine. Arabic accent, fine. As long as they can understand you. So, you think that learning an accent means only perfection. That's the only thing you should be trying to do. No. Honestly, you don't need perfection. Ever. Not with American English. There is no expectation of perfect accent in America when you speak English. The only thing that we want is clarity. Okay, so I don't care what accent you have. I hear accents here often. Okay? And by the way, America has 30 different accents. So which one are you going to learn? Mine is only one of 30. All right, let's see. Thank you, Sophie, very much. What does accent mean? Accent means the way you pronounce the words. Does it sound like you're from Pakistan? When you speak English, can people hear that you are from Pakistan? That's your accent. Okay? And in a country like my country, where I live, many people speak like me. But if you go to New York, maybe people will speak differently. Or Massachusetts and Boston, they speak differently. Or in Texas, they speak differently. They have a different accent. Okay, so it's still English, but the way they pronounce things is a little bit different. It's called regionality. It means the area. So your accent might change if you go to a different area. Or not your accent, but the accent. Accents change. All right? Let's see. Someone told you that the accent from Boston is very sophisticated. There's a guy here. Do you know Chris Jandis? The live streamer on Hello Talk? Chris? He's from Boston, and he has a great Boston accent. He has a classic Boston accent. So if you really want to hear what a Boston accent sounds like, then you should join Chris's live stream. He's also a really great guy. He's a very, very relaxed, cool, chill, nice guy. So you should just join his streams and listen to him. But he has a very different accent than I do. Okay? But they're both okay. They're just different. All right? Zane says accent is originality of sound. Kind of. Your voice is your originality of sound. So everybody has a different way of speaking. That's your voice. Okay? So, yes, everybody has an original voice. That's true. But accents are not necessarily really original, right? So that means that if you go to Texas, you will hear many people with the same accent. All right, they all speak the same way in that area, right? But then if you go 200 miles to, the west in a different city, they might have a slightly different way of pronouncing things. Everybody, okay? You searched for online classes for learning English, but you don't have information which ones are good for you. Well, I don't really know which ones are good for you either. Where did you look? Oh, Sophia, if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, well, we can't really talk about that here, but yeah, there's a lot of politics that we can't talk about, unfortunately, but yeah, I feel you. Hello, Mervan. So if you have questions, then you can ask me questions. That's the topic, okay? Ask me your questions. You're from Afghanistan, right? But you're talking about online classes, though, right? We're just talking. I don't really know what we're talking about right now. Just ask me questions if you have questions. If you have questions about grammar, ask me questions about grammar. If you have questions about vocabulary, ask me questions about vocabulary. Whatever. All right? What's my favorite quote? I have many, many, many favorite quotes, but I think to thine own self be true. This above all, to thine own self be true. From Macbeth. I can't speak today. Macbeth. It's okay, Sophie. I just, I don't want to get started in some kind of stuff like that, because then it gets messy. It gets messy. Oh, you're talking about buying lessons from me? If you want to talk about buying lessons from me, just send me a message and I'll, or you can go to my website. If you just go to my website, which is right here, you should be able to find everything you need about my lessons. This is my website right there. Okay? But my lessons are not free. This is my job. Is singing or listening to songs good for English practice, and how? Yes, it's good for many reasons. Listening, it's good just because it's fun. The songs are fun. That's why they're great for learning. Songs have been used for learning for generations, hundreds, thousands of years. Every culture uses some songs to help teach things, stories. There's all kinds of things that you can learn in songs, right? So songs are great. They're good for listening. They're good for vocabulary. They're good for pronunciation. And they're also good for connected speech. Because when you sing, usually, you have to connect the words in a very flowing way. So it's good if you need help with that. How to teach absolute beginners. Any suggestions on books? Absolute beginners. Man, it's been a while. I did use a lot of books for absolute beginners a long time ago, like 2010. But I don't know any of the modern ones, any of the current ones. But let me look and see. So you're talking about beginners. They don't know the alphabet. They don't know anything, right? Okay, let's see. So below A1, like knowing a few words except the alphabet. Okay, so let's see. I would say start with this website. Go here and see if this is too hard. But it should, this website should help for most of your beginners, okay? Go try it and look at that. Games2learnenglish.com. They have lots and lots and lots of games, and most of them are basic games. Very basic vocabulary, adjectives, yeah, go take a look. And it's free. It's free. All right? That's a great place to start. Okay, next question is, does it really matter if you have an excellent accent? No, it doesn't. If you speak well and people understand you, then your accent is fine. The only problem is if you speak and someone can't understand you, that means your accent is not clear. That is a problem. You need to fix that. But there's a big difference between perfection and clarity. Clarity is not that hard. Okay? To be clear, it's not that hard. Okay? Hello, Mona. Okay, do I know about Proverbs in Persian? Sure, actually I do, because I love Rumi. I've read a bunch of Rumi. One of my favorite quotes that I always give here about, sometimes people are shy, right? People are shy and they're afraid to do something. They're afraid to speak. They're afraid to try. And Rumi has a great quote that I love. He says, "All of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. Seek disharmony and you will find peace." And I love that quote. That's a brilliant quote. It means that before you can be comfortable, you must be uncomfortable. You have to go through the dark tunnel before you can come out the other side. So darkness and fear is part of learning, and you have to just push through it to get through to the light on the other side. Okay? What do Americans think about Justin Bieber? Rexbo, some of them like him. Of course, some of them like him. He's very famous. I'm not a big fan myself, okay? But I'm an old man. Can I pronounce the word gave and give? Okay, look at my mouth, Auntie. The biggest reason why Chinese people have trouble with English words, especially like this, is because your mouth is not open enough. So if your mouth is not open enough, then the A and the I, maybe they sound too similar. They're too, the mouth position is too much the same, right? So make the mouth position different. So watch me. Gave, A, gave. So that's a big mouth, gave. Then there's give. That's a small mouth, okay? So you're talking about a long A, and a short I, okay? What does insidious mean? Insidious means kind of like evil, and you have evil plans, dark, evil, bad, negative, you know, plans to do bad things are insidious plans, right? It's insidious. An insidious thing is something that's negative, that poisons something, that affects something badly or evilly or darkly. Okay, it's insidious. All right, but sometimes it's insidious things are often subtle. They're not obvious. Sometimes insidious things are things that you don't notice they're bad until it's too late. You participate in my live streams almost every day. You understand 90%, but you don't know if your vocabulary level is enough. Your vocabulary level is never enough. I am 50 years old, and I am still learning vocabulary. And I'm a native, and I'm an English teacher. If I am still learning vocabulary, then you are still learning vocabulary. Okay? I became like a professor in a university with a beard and mustache. I like to change up my look sometimes, that's all. I just like to change it up sometimes. Can I say that quote again? Sure. It's from Rumi. He's the Persian poet, Rumi. I think in Persian they call him Maulana. And the quote is, "All of your anxiety comes from seeking harmony. Seek disharmony and you will find peace." Hola. Uh, 40 Rules of Love? I don't think that's Rumi. I think that's somebody else, if I remember right, Sophie. That's a Turkish guy, isn't it? Yeah, Rumi. Rumi is the quote that I gave. That's a quote from Rumi. Yeah, but in Persian, they call him Maulana. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Maulana. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. What's the difference between shiver and tremble? Shiver is usually used for when you're cold. Shiver is when you're cold. Okay, so when it's cold outside, oh, I'm shivering. Trembling is usually when you're afraid. Okay? If you're afraid, you tremble. If you're cold, you shiver. Okay? Right, yeah, that Alif Shafak. Yeah, I don't know him or that book. I'm talking about Rumi. Do they use books like American English File, Touchstone in the U.S.? I don't know, Amir Cheyenne. I'm not sure. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of schools and classes and courses. They all use different books. But here is what I will tell you. My experience when I taught overseas, it was interesting because they had books in Taiwan that I had never seen in America. They didn't use the books from America. They used their own books that they published there or different ones that I didn't know about, right? So what I've learned is in English learning around the world, different regions have different books, okay? There is not one book that is kind of globally, well, English Grammar in Use is definitely one that's globally well known, but it's an advanced book. If you're talking about basic books, every region has different basic books that they use. Okay? Can I show the difference between were and we're? Yeah, were and we're, right? So I'm over pronouncing it so that you can hear it, right? So we were going to the park. We were, W-E-R-E. We were, okay? It's pronounced like W-U-R. If you put the letters W-U-R together, that's were, okay? We're is we are. We're going to the park. We're, okay? So really, listen carefully. We're. It is still we are. It's just so crushed together. You just squash it. So that we're. Okay? We're. So when you say we, you got to smile a little bit. But when you say were, no smile. Okay? You're welcome. Okay, Sophie, I'm sorry. I really don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I must be confused or lost. Oh, so in that book, she talks about him, because he wrote a lot of love poetry and stuff. Right, that makes sense. All right, now I think I understand what you were saying. I'm sorry, Sophie. I was confused. I couldn't understand what you were trying to refer to. Okay, so that's a Turkish book that's about probably love stories and love poems, and Rumi wrote a lot of that. A lot of Rumi's stuff is about love. Okay, so again, if you have questions, ask me your questions. Let's see, we have somebody raising their hand. Let's talk to somebody. Alina. Alina, do you want to come talk to me? No? Okay, well. Oh, well. Then come on stage. I sent you an invitation.
Hi.
Hello,
I'm
Alina.
sorry. I invitation and it's like disappeared.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
Long time no
Yeah.
see. How are you?
Yeah, long time no see. I'm I'm so happy to see you. How are you?
I'm not bad. I'm fine. So what can I do for you today?
Well, honestly, I just wanted to speak with you about anything. Maybe if you have a topic, maybe we can discuss. But honestly, like, I don't know. I just wanted to like communicate with you.
Okay. All right. So let's choose a topic. How about I often like to talk about food and music because those things are
Oh
so
yeah.
cross-cultural, you know. So those are good things to talk about usually.
I love food.
Okay.
Amazing music. Yeah. So basically, I live in Russia. My favorite Russian food is vareniki. Basically, it's like dumplings, and inside of dough, you have smashed potatoes with onions, and you have
Ooh.
mashed potatoes, mushrooms. Yeah, and you can have there's like kind of sour
Hmm.
toppings, and you have sweet toppings. You can have like cherry.
Ooh, that does
Yeah,
sound
but
good.
I love. Huh?
That does sound good. So they're kind of like savory and sweet dumplings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love
Okay.
it.
And they're like stuffed
Well,
dumplings. Stuffed dumplings. That
yeah,
sounds interesting.
вареники. Вареники.
Varenika. All right.
Yeah, yeah, very nice. And we have kind of our version of soup is borщ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
famous.
yeah, borщ is
Sure.
very
Yeah.
delicious. Yeah, it's very delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I'm a huge fan of teas. I don't really drink coffee that much, so I drink tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't, yeah. Someone's wrote it. Yeah, so, and about music, I am a huge fan of blues and jazz. My favorite artist is Joey Bonamassa. Do you know him?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm a
You
jazz.
are,
I'm a jazz drummer.
well, huh?
Look behind me. Do you see the drums? I'm a jazz drummer.
Yeah, I see the drums, but you know why I'm so excited? Because you are the second person in my whole life who knows who is Joy Bonamassa. One guy from Japan, sorry, I don't remember his name. He's like, I know Joy Bonamassa, and like I found out about Joy Bonamassa from the song "I'll Take Care of You" with Beth Hart.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take
Right.
care of you. Yeah, the song.
Lots of people
And
know who
I
he
am.
is. I'm surprised that you haven't. He's pretty famous.
Well, yeah, he's pretty famous, but whomever I ask, they like, oh, I don't know who he is. I'm like, what? He's really famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
like
you said you like
songs.
blues and jazz. So how did you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
introduced to blues and jazz? Where did you find blues and jazz? And what do you know
Especially
about
like
blues and jazz?
I love music. I just was looking into internet. I think it's YouTube, and I
Okay.
just found out, and since then I fell in love with him.
Well, let me give you one tip that I think is a really good tip for people today. You know, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
I grew up before the internet, and when you listened to music back then, it was a completely different thing because, for example, the music that I listened to when I was a kid was mostly from my older brother. Whatever my older brother had, that's what I listened to. You know, like that's what
I don't
you know.
have any
So, well,
feelings.
like something like that. You know, like your friends, whatever they had, what was on the radio, that's what you listened to. It was just what was on the radio, or what we had cassette tapes, right? We had cassette tapes or records, and so
Yeah.
we did both of those, and but we weren't exposed to so many different kinds of music most of the time. When I was growing up, we heard rock most of the time. That's what we heard was rock. That's it, rock. But when I started learning music, then I started learning about the history of music. And if you learn about the history of music, it's a really fun way to explore music, because what you can do is you can see, oh, well, this rock band started here. And then it's like a tree. You have to think about a tree of of how music started. And so here's this rock band. They started here. But who did they like? Who did they listen to? Oh, they listened to this band, and they started here. And who did they listen to? Oh, they listened to this group up here, and they listened to this group up here. And so it's fun to explore. That's what happened to me, was like, for example, Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin is a famous rock band that lots of people like, right? And I loved Led Zeppelin. But then I started thinking, wait a minute. John Bonham is the drummer for Led Zeppelin. And I thought, well, wait a minute. What did John Bonham like? I like Led Zeppelin, but what does he like? What did he grow up on? What was his influence? So then you go back and you find what he liked, and it's like, oh, wow, there's lots of great stuff there. And then you can go back and find out what they liked before that and keep going. So, music is all the music that you're listening to today came from someplace, in the past. And it's really awesome when you start exploring. There's so much amazing music to find that you don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
You have no idea it's there. And so if you like that one group, that's one of the coolest kinds of technologies that we have today, is you can go online and you can say, I like this song, and then the AI or computer will give you 10 other songs that are like that you didn't know about from other bands or other musicians, and it's really cool that you can explore music that way, you know. But now today with the internet, kids are very different. They don't listen to things from one decade. They listen to music that's just whatever music is on the internet that they like. They hear it, they say, oh, I like that. So maybe it's from 1985, maybe it's from 1992, maybe it's from 2022. They like music. They don't really know what year it's from until they check. You know?
Well, yeah. I didn't have cassettes, but I had DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know what? I love well, mostly I live in Russia, so obviously all of my friends and my parents and like relatives they listen to Russian music, and I'm kind of the only one in my family who does not listen to most of Russian music. I listen to like English and American music because my aunt she's an English teacher and I was like in her school, yes, and she kind of pressed like I wouldn't say force, but she kind of introduced me to the English language and I kind of started listening to music. So yeah, I started to listening to like English music. And I think I found out about Joe Bonamassa when I was about like 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like high school. And I fell in love in the way how he plays guitar. By the way, what's your favorite song of Joe Bonamassa's music?
Oh shoot! I knew you were going to ask me for that. I'm really terrible with the names of songs. It's really weird. I'm a professional musician. I've been doing this for a long time. But even for as long as I've been doing it, it's just the way my brain works. If you play the first note of the song, I know what song it is immediately, and I know everything in my head is like, boom.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, hey, do you remember this song? I'll be like, wait, what's that song again? Like, I can't remember by the name, but as soon as I hear the sound, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that one. So, wait a minute, let me find... I want to find this for you. So, you like Joe Bonamassa, but do you know who Joe Bonamassa liked? Do you know?
He likes
yeah, like, do you know about Eric Clapton?
Oh yes, I do know about Eric
Okay,
Clapton.
so Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
What about Jeff Beck?
Well, Jeff Beck, no.
Jeff Beck is one of the greatest guitar players of all time, and Joe Bonamassa, that was his.
I'm gonna Google him.
Jeff Jeff Beck Beck.
Jeff.
Beck BEC.
Jeff.
Beck Beck.
Jeff Beck.
Yeah, and he was one of the greatest guitarists of all time, and that was
I know.
that's one of Bonamassa's favorites.
Yeah.
Jimmy Page, the guitarist from Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was a big influence on Bonamassa. So that's what I like to do is say, okay, I like Joe Bonamassa, but then who does Joe Bonamassa like? You know, you have to go further.
Can you actually play in a little game because I'm here with my laptop, so I'm gonna press one song, and as you said, from the beginning, can you name me the?
Oh, I won't be able to do that. No, I don't know his music that well. So I can't do that. No. Sorry.
Okay.
No, I'm familiar with him because I'm a musician, so of course I'm familiar with him. And I have played a few of his songs, and I think I have one of his cassettes in my closet. But I'm not like a huge Bonamassa fan, like I know all of his songs, you know. But I know most of the great guitar players.
But do you have a favorite song of yours of all time? That you kind of like
No.
Sings a lot? No.
I don't have any favorite songs. No, because I like too many. You know, it's like food. I also have no favorites. I cook a lot and I play a lot of kinds of music, so I like everything. You know, sometimes I do performances here sometimes on camera, back on my drums, and I'll play all kinds of styles of music. You know. And yeah, Lucas says Bonamassa doesn't play jazz. No, he's more like blues rock. But he's kind of in the blues. We'll call him, he's really more of a rock guitar player, but he's got a lot of blues influence. He's a very, very strongly blues influenced rock guitar player. We'll call him blues rock.
Oh,
We'll call him blues rock.
okay. But,
Yeah.
but do you have like any favorite musicians of all time? Like your favorite musicians?
Well, yeah, but they're
There's like
mostly
no.
drummers because I'm a drummer. So, yeah,
By the way, you said so you're a drummer, but do you play like piano?
I do play a little piano, sure.
Do you have your favorite key?
My favorite key?
Like to
Uh, D minor. It's the saddest of all keys.
why? Okay, why do you mind?
Because it's
Why
this,
do you mind?
it's
Can
a,
you
s-
explain?
it,
Can
well,
you actually give me the definition about the
well,
key?
sure, yeah, it's because, again, it's partly, it's a joke, okay? This is the D minor, when you play D minor, what does minor mean, everybody? It means you take the third note, and usually you play the major, but then you're going to take that and go down a half step and play the minor. So D minor has, yeah, right, and there's two notes that change that make it completely different. So major sounds happy, minor sounds sad, and well, to most people. There are some cultures where the sound of minor is actually what they think of happy music, but in most cultures, when you hear a minor sound, it's called dissonance. It means when two sounds, there's harmony and dissonance, and so when two notes sound good, then it's harmonious. When two notes sound bad, then it's dissonant. And music is a combination of harmony and dissonance, and when you put them together, you have these beautiful things where it's, for a minute, that's what makes minor cool, is when you hit that note that's sad, you're like, oh, it's sad, but then the next note you hit will be a major note that suddenly releases that tension. And it makes it feel like, oh, there's tension and then release, and tension and then release, and that's what makes music interesting. But in general, the big thing.
Can you give me a book that I maybe could read about musical, about the keys in music?
Yeah, music theory.
Musical theory. Thank you.
A book, I have a bunch of them back there, but they're all old. There is a new one I've heard about, though, very quickly. Let me see if I can find it. I went to school for music ages ago. A long time ago, I went to jazz school. And when you go to jazz school,
Because
it doesn't
I
matter
also
what
been in
instrument. You have to
musical,
play
but my
piano.
instrument was dobra.
Ah, okay. All right. So,
Yeah, my dobra, and I love piano, and I always wanted to sing, but like teachers refused me. They kind of kicked me out of the classes because like, okay, you don't hear, you don't listen. Like, there's no point for you to.
well, you do have to listen. You do have to listen. It's the number one thing. If you can't listen, you can't play music. Why do you have two ears?
Yeah.
You have two ears and one mouth. There's a good reason why. You're supposed to listen. You're supposed to listen before you speak. And if you don't listen, I got yelled at so many times when I was younger because I would just go in there wanting to play what I heard in my head. And I'm not listening to anybody else. But music is not about you. It's about the music. You have to take your ego and put it away because it's not about you. So when you play music, the way a band sounds good is if everybody in that group, if everybody is thinking, I'm going to play what makes everybody else sound better. So whatever I do has to make them sound good. If everybody is doing that, everybody sounds amazing. But as soon as one person says, oh, it's all about me, I'm going to do it for me, now it's not good anymore. So soloing is one thing. Solo is supposed to be about you. But a song is not a solo. Unless it happens to be played by one person. But if it's a group, then it's a conversation. And conversations require that you listen. And that's what Duke Ellington was one of the greatest jazz composers of all time. And that's Duke Ellington. He's the one who wrote the A Train. And he said, let me find the quote exactly. Hold on. Duke Ellington quote about listening.
I just really want to go to the musical school and learn music and perform.
Oh, I can't find it. Oh, there we go. The most important thing I look for in a musician is whether he knows how to listen. That is the most important thing. Yeah.
Can you give me the name of a book about musical theory?
Yeah. So, yeah, this is the one. If you're looking for a musical theory book that's more about basic music theory, I'd have to look more deeply. But if you're looking for one that's more like jazz music theory, but it's still like you can do it, you can start it, then it's a book by Mark Levine. And it's just called The Jazz Theory Book. Hold on, I'm typing it for you. The Jazz Theory Book. Okay, that's Mark Levine, yeah. He wrote a few good books, but that one is good. Hold on, let me see. New basic music theory books. Because that's like jazz theory. Yeah, I think I would probably go. There's a company. There's a company called Alfred. There's a company called Alfred. Alfred Publishing. They make great books. They have a Alfred Essentials of Music Theory. Alfred Essentials of Music Theory. Let me look it for you. Okay, and then I need to let you go because I need to talk to some other people today here. Alfred Essentials of Music Theory. Okay, check out that one. Those two. Alfred Essentials of Music Theory is basic for anybody who doesn't know anything about music, but you want to know about, major and minor and all the scales and Mixolydian and Lydian and dominant and all this stuff. And then, if you want to know more, then you can go to the Jazz Theory book with Mark Levine, and that teaches you more about. That teaches you more about theory from.
Thank you so much for.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Mark.
All right, well, take care, Alina. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's see. Let me make sure I didn't miss any quotes or I'm sorry, any comments here. I didn't. Okay, good. Is everybody over here? Yeah, okay, good. All right. Hello, Belen. I don't know. I probably missed you. Yeah, Bonamassa is more like blues rock, But when I hear a young person, any young person, if they say something like I like jazz or I like blues, I usually expect them to say something that's jazzy or blues-ish, but not really jazz or blues, which is kind of the case. But that's why I'm suggesting that if you think you like that style, if you think you like that bluesy thing, then you should do some homework and find out where it comes from, because it comes from a long time ago. And there's a strong, long history. And there's so much great music to find. And you really do. Music is a completely different thing when you think about it from history. If you understand who came first and who came last, it's a completely different experience. And there's a lot to know. All right, we talked about a lot of weird things here. All of a sudden, we're talking about music and Bonamassa and all kinds of stuff. But yeah. Anyway, this is another principle of music that works in language too, which is the most important thing that you should do is listen. Listening is the most important part of any communication, and music is a form of communication. Okay? Now, if anybody else wants to raise your hand, you can. If you have a question, you can ask me your questions right? If you want to ask me about English, ask me about English. If you want to ask me about culture, ask me about culture. If you want to ask me about history or music or food or etymology or vocabulary or whatever, then ask me. Jandis says, when you have time, please watch Downton Abbey. I have watched it before. My mother loves Downton Abbey. You don't know if they're old-fashioned expressions. Most of them are. I would say, I would say two things. They're either a little bit older or British or both. But that does not mean you can't use them. Like, I'll say my goodbyes. That's not British. That's not old. We still say that. Let me say my goodbyes. Right? Like maybe I'm at a party, right? And I need to go. So I'm telling somebody, hey, I'm going to say my goodbyes and go. I'll say my goodbyes. We use that. Okay? But there will be many phrases because that is a time period piece. It's a time period piece. So that means that the language comes from that time period. So a lot of it is not going to be current anymore. We don't use a lot of it anymore. Okay? But some of it, sure. Okay? Yeah, and in this case, you're saying, I'll say my goodbyes. It's plural, hendor, because it's many people. You're saying goodbye many times. Okay? So you're saying goodbye, 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 goodbye. Yeah, I hate goodbyes. That's right. Yeah, you're talking about goodbye as a plural. It's not common, but it does happen. And hello, Norman. How are you? How do you know such a thing? Time period pieces? You mean how do you know that it's a time period piece? If it looks old, it's probably a time period piece. Does it look old? If it looks old, then it's a time period piece. You know? Now, there is a difference, right? There are some things that look old but are not really time period pieces. They're just fantasy, right? Like Harry Potter. Harry Potter kind of looks old, but it's not old. It's not real. It's fantasy completely, right? Okay, but if you watch something like Downton Abbey or there's a show called The Tudors. It's all about Tudor England, the period of time. It's a time period, so it's a time period show. Okay. Time period piece. 对, yeah, it means a TV show or a movie, but we're talking about TV shows. But it's a TV show from a time period, from a long time ago, right? From the 80s, from the 50s, from the 1800s, from the 1400s. Those are time period pieces. Yeah, history. 这是历史的，对啊。Yeah, 很老的。I missed messages. Yes, some of them don't get old, of course. Some of them don't get old. I mean, Shakespeare is really old, but it was so famous and it's so respected that we still use many of them. Okay? So yeah, there are some things that we say they stand the test of time. They stand the test of time. So even though they're old, they still are here. Every year they're still here. They're never too old. They stand the test of time. Okay, I only have a few more minutes, maybe 10 or 15 more minutes. So, if you have questions, then ask me your questions. You know what I want to tell you about? I'm going to tell you something. I want to ask you guys, how many of you guys write? How many of you guys write anything? Samira writes. Anyone else? Nobody? Nobody else writes anything? You don't write a diary? You don't write notes? You don't write ideas down? Do you have an idea and you write it down? You have a theory? You write it down? You don't have any of those? Come on, people. Me, but not on a regular basis. Okay? So, here is something I want to encourage you all to do. Write. Every person on this planet does have something important to say. It might be small, but it might be important. Sometimes archaeologists, right? Archaeologists, they study history. They study what people did in the past. They look at what we all used to do. And sometimes when an archaeologist looks back at the past, they look at some simple guy. They don't look at the famous people. They look at the regular people like you and me. So, the things you do, the things you write, your voice, your ideas, they matter. And they might matter a lot. But guess what? Everybody on this planet has great ideas that they let go to the wind. They have the idea, and they say, oh, that's a great idea. I think that's a good idea. And then tomorrow, it's gone. Why? Because they didn't write it down. They didn't write it down. So, you should write something. Are you important? No, you're not important. But that doesn't mean that you don't have something important to say. Okay? Sometimes the thing that you think is not important might be. Okay? Yes, that's the right way to spell it. Archaeologist, that's right. Yeah. Robert got the correct spelling. So yeah, you should write something. Does it matter if it's handwriting or online? That's a very good question. I just read an article about this, Norman, and it actually does matter. It is far better to write by hand. They have many, many studies now that show that writing, when you write, it engages your brain in a completely different and far more efficient and active manner than typing. Typing, when you look at the MRI of a person who's typing versus the MRI of a person who's writing, the people who are writing, their brain is like lit up. It's like, wow, look at that. But the people who are typing, the brain is not lit up because it's not really, it doesn't connect. the keyboard does not connect with your mind the way a pencil or a pen does. We don't know why yet. We don't understand totally the reasons why. But it's not the same. So, here's what I will tell you. It would be better if you wrote it by hand. But I'm not going to tell you that it's bad to just write it with your fingers or typing or whatever. Just write it is the most important thing. Write it. Just put something down. So what I do is I have a note in my phone, and on this note, any idea that pops into my head, any idea, any thought, maybe it's an idea about a teaching idea, or maybe it's an idea about an invention, or maybe it's an idea for a story, or maybe it's an idea about a psychology concept I want to think about more. I just write the quick note. That's it. I just write the quick note in my notes. And then later, you know what I do is I use ChatGPT. And in ChatGPT, I will explore my idea. Whatever idea I have. I have a new idea for a chair. Who cares if it's a stupid idea? Just explore it. Just explore it. I have a new idea for, like just last night, I came up with a new idea for an effective punishment system for classrooms in cram schools. I think it's going to actually be a very effective system. I can't tell you about it because you'll steal it. But I came up with this idea, and now I'm talking to ChatGPT about it, and I want to write about it. Now, the key is you got to talk about it. You got to discuss it. You got to, work it out. We call it hashing it out. To hash it out means to keep asking questions and keep trying to solve the problem and keep thinking about it until it makes sense. That's hashing it out. Okay, let's see. Did I miss anything? What's the difference between shed tears and burst into tears? Shed tears just means to cry in any way. To burst into tears means to burst is to explode. So to burst into tears is like suddenly you're full of you're crying. That's bursting into tears. Okay, so shedding tears is just crying. Any tear. One tear. Sometimes we say, I'm not going to shed a tear for you. That means I'm not going to cry even one tear. I'm not going to shed a tear. To shed means to get rid of. Okay, or to... It's a... I can't describe it. Anyway, to get rid of, we'll say. In the river of history, everyone is not important. That's right. But at the same time, everyone is important. You just don't know it. You should not know how important you really are. You should never have any sense of your own importance. If you do think you know how important you are, it's always a problem. Everybody on this planet who thinks that they are really important, not good people. Not good people. So it's a really easy way to say, I don't want to be like that. Just say, okay, I don't want to be important. I just want to be me. If I end up being important, if people think I'm important, then that's fine. But as soon as you think you are important, that's where the trouble begins. Okay, guys, I need to get going here. Let's see. You started writing because you're not good at speaking, but you think it helps you memorize vocabulary. Yeah, it does. Writing will help you with that. But Samira, did you read my article about vocabulary? You need to read my article about vocabulary. Let me find it for you. Go read this article about vocabulary. Okay? You need to enhance your writing skills by using advanced connectors or phrasing. Can I give you some examples? Ooh, wait a minute. I think I remember a page about this. Let me think if I can figure out where it was. Yeah, let's see. Try this one. Start with this one. Here's a good start. This website. And this one. Those two websites should be a pretty good place to get started with connecting words and linking words. Okay? It's one of the greatest ways to excel at spelling. You mean writing? Yeah, of course. I'll tell you why, Norman. Because writing requires movements that are static movements, repeated movements, static repeated movements that requires coordination. Typing is not really the same kind of coordination. You're not coordinating the letter, you're just coordinating where the letter is on the keyboard. So when you type where the letter is on the keyboard, it doesn't register in your head at all. But when you write the letter A, that is a coordination. That's a movement that's coordinating to your thoughts. So that's the biggest reason why, I think. And I think that's true because I'm a drummer. That's how drums works. We repeat movements over and over and over again until we know the movements so well that they're memorized. They become muscle memory. So I think it's the muscle memory part of writing that connects to your brain in a far more effective and complete way than typing. Okay. Okay, guys, I think that's going to be it for me today. I need to get going. I'm going to go check on my mom and make sure she's okay. So, I will see you guys next time. I should be here. Today's Friday, so I should be here tomorrow for a little while to answer some questions and maybe even play some music. All right? And remember what I said, people write. You know, I wrote a blog. Now I write a blog, right? I do my blog. And I'm glad I started writing my blog because, you know, I don't want you to have an ego. I don't want you to think that you're so important that everybody needs to hear what you have to say. No. If you write a blog, just write it for yourself. Don't care if anybody reads it. Just write it for yourself. That's the best way to do it. It's the same as when you perform music. When I perform music, I cannot think about the audience. I have to just think about the music and my group. Okay? That's all that's important when I play. I'm not thinking about you in the audience. No. A performer has to think about the music, not the audience. Okay? And the same thing is true with this. All right? When you write, just write for yourself. Don't try to impress anybody. Don't try to be special. Just do what you do. Okay, just say something. Just say something. That's it. Okay? And it's great practice for your writing. It's great practice for your language. And guess what it's great practice for? It's great practice for you, for your person, for your personality. Your ideas are part of who you are. When you write down your ideas, you're developing who you are. That's why you should write them down. It's part of your development. Okay? All right, I gotta go. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, wherever you live, and I'll see you next time. Okay?